I was 16 the night my life split in two. It started with shouting. Loud, sharp, and sudden. The kind that makes your chest tighten before you even know why. I was in my room when my mother called my name, her voice trembling with anger. Come downstairs. Now. I remember walking into the living room and immediately sensing something was wrong. My father stood near the window, arms crossed, his expression cold. My brother sat on the couch, head lowered, but there was something strange about it. Not guilt. Not fear. Something else. Control. What happened? I asked, my voice unsure. My mother didn't answer right away. She stepped forward, her eyes burning into mine. How could you do this? My heart dropped. Do what? That's when my brother spoke. Quiet, careful. She knows, he said. I turned to him confused. What are you talking about? He finally looked up, and I saw it, the lie forming behind his eyes before the words even left his mouth. She stole money, he said. From Dad's office. I saw her. The room went silent. For a second, I thought it was a joke. A bad one. Something that would collapse the moment I denied it. That's not true, I said immediately. I didn't take anything. But no one moved. No one questioned him. My father's jaw tightened. What trusted you? I'm telling the truth, I insisted, my voice rising. I didn't do it. Why would I? Stop lying, my mother snapped. The word hit harder than anything else. Lying. Just like that, the truth didn't matter anymore. I looked at my brother again, waiting, hoping, for him to crack, to admit it was a mistake. But he didn't. He just sat there, quiet and convincing, like he had rehearsed this moment. I saw her, he repeated. And that was enough for them. 16 years of being their daughter erased in seconds. My father walked to the door and opened it. The sound echoed through the house like something final. Get out, he said. I froze. What? You heard me, he replied coldly. We're not raising a thief. My chest tightened, panic rising fast. You can't be serious. I didn't do anything. But they weren't listening anymore. My mother turned away. My father didn't look at me again. And my brother. He didn't say a word. I stood there for a moment, waiting for someone, anyone, to stop this. To say it was a mistake. To choose me. No one did. So I walked out. And as the door slammed behind me, one truth settled deep inside me. A lie had just destroyed my life. And one day, I would make sure the truth destroyed it right back. The first night was the hardest. I didn't have a plan. No bag packed. No place to go. Just the clothes I was wearing, and the echo of a slammed door still ringing in my ears. At 16, the world feels big when you're protected. But when you're alone it feels endless. I walked for hours, not really knowing where I was headed. The streets grew quieter, colder. Every passing car made me flinch. Every shadow felt like a threat. I kept replaying the moment over and over in my mind, my brother's voice, calm and certain. My parents' faces turning against me like I meant nothing. I didn't understand it. But I didn't have time to. Survival doesn't wait for understanding. That night, I ended up at a bus stop. It was dimly lit, just enough to feel slightly safer than the dark streets. I sat on the cold bench, pulling my arms around myself, trying not to cry. Not because I wasn't hurt, but because crying wouldn't fix anything. The next few weeks blurred together. I learned quickly, faster than any 16-year-old should have to. I took whatever help I could find, a shelter for a few nights, leftover food from kind strangers, small jobs that paid just enough to keep me going. Cleaning tables. Carrying boxes. Anything. Trust became something I handled carefully. Because I had learned the hardest lesson already. The people closest to you could believe a lie without question. So, I started watching people differently. Listening more. Not just to what they said, but how they said it. The pauses, the eye contact, the little things most people ignore. I noticed when someone hesitated too long before answering, when their story changed slightly the second time, when their confidence felt forced. It became instinct. I didn't realize it then, but I was training myself. Learning how lies looked, how they sounded, how they slipped through unnoticed. There were nights I wanted to give up, nights where the loneliness felt heavier than the cold. But every time I thought about going back, about begging them to believe, I remembered my brother's face. Calm, certain, untouchable. And something inside me hardened. If a lie could destroy my life so easily, then I needed to become stronger than any lie. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was learning, adapting, becoming someone who would never be powerless in the face of deception again. Because one day, I wouldn't just recognize the truth, I would expose it. It didn't happen overnight. Survival turned into stability. Stability turned into purpose. And somewhere along the way, the scared 16-year-old who had been thrown out with nothing became someone people started to trust. Not because I asked them to, but because I could see things others couldn't. I started small, working basic jobs, finishing my education wherever I could, taking night classes, pushing through exhaustion like it was normal. But the one thing that stayed with me, the one thing I couldn't ignore, was how easily people lied and how often no one noticed. Except me. I noticed everything. A slight shift in tone. A story that didn't quite line up. A confidence that felt rehearsed instead of real. It wasn't just instinct anymore, it was skill. That's how I found my way into investigative work. At first, it was just assisting, organizing reports, verifying small details, checking records. Nothing big, nothing important. But to me it was everything. Because every detail mattered. Every inconsistency meant something. And for the first time in my life, the thing that had once made me feel powerless, being lied to, was now the very thing giving me strength. I remember the first time I caught something significant. A case that everyone thought was simple, clean, straightforward, except it wasn't. There was a gap. Small, easy to overlook, but I saw it, followed it, pulled at it until the whole story started to unravel. And just like that, the truth came out. People were shocked, impressed. But for me, it wasn't about recognition. It was personal. Every lie I uncovered felt like I was rewriting my own story. Like I was taking back control from the moment everything was stolen from me. Years passed. My name started to carry weight. People came to me when things didn't add up. When something felt off. When they needed the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it was. And I always delivered. Because I knew what it felt like when the truth didn't matter. I made sure it always did. But no matter how many lies I exposed, there was one I never forgot. One voice that still echoed in my mind. I saw her. My brother's words. The lie that started everything. I had built a life exposing strangers, uncovering secrets, bringing truth into the light. But deep down, I knew one thing. The biggest lie of all was still waiting for me. I didn't go looking for it. For years, I told myself I didn't need to. I had built a life, a reputation, a future far removed from the house that had thrown me away. The past was something I had buried under success, discipline, and distance. But the truth has a way of finding you, especially when you're the one trained to see it. It started like any other case. A financial discrepancy, missing funds, a company that insisted everything was clean. I had seen it all before. Patterns, denials, carefully constructed stories. Until I saw a name. My last name. I stared at the file longer than I should have. My chest tightened, something old and familiar rising to the surface. It couldn't be a coincidence. Not after all these years. So I dug deeper. Records, transactions, timelines. And then I found it. The same pattern, the same kind of lie. Only this time, it wasn't pointed at me. It was built by him. My brother. The truth unfolded piece by piece. And with every document I uncovered, the past came rushing back. The money. The accusation. The certainty in his voice. He hadn't just lied once. He had always been lying. The theft he blamed on me. It was his. And now, years later, he had done it again, only bigger, sloppier, and impossible to hide from someone like me. For a moment, I sat there, staring at the evidence. This was it. The truth I had been denied. The proof I never had. The answer to the question that had followed me for years. Why me? But now, the question didn't matter anymore. Because this time, I had everything. The confrontation wasn't dramatic. It didn't need to be. I walked into that house. The same one I had been thrown out of, and for the first time in years, I wasn't the one without power. They looked older. Smaller. Surprised to see me. "What are you doing here?" my father asked, his voice uncertain. I didn't answer right away. I simply placed the file on the table. Read it. They hesitated, then did. Page by page, their expressions changed. Confusion, disbelief, then something heavier, realization. My brother went pale. "This isn't," he started. "Don't," I said calmly. No anger, no shouting, just truth. "The money? Back then. It was you,